So, this is us for today after this one. We've got the second half of the horses. It does seem like we've had less chapters this week, but we're getting very near the end, so it's important we don't overdo it. We'll have a few more chapters next week. And also, if we get finished, there's nothing to do after that, so let's keep it going as long as we can, the enjoyment. Okay, let's finish off the horses past two. I join in after the second time we walk to the rhythm. Kidlat humming tunelessly near my ear. We sing it faster and faster. Our pace increasing until we are nearly running and I have to stop and put Kidlat down because I'm laughing so hard. I can't breathe. Then Mary is pressing her hand against my mouth, hard. I choke on a breath and start to cough, but she pushes her wrist over her hand and shushes me urgently. I swallow down the cough and listen. Horses. There are horses nearby and men talking. I can hear the low burr of their voices and hooves scuffing the path. We flatten ourselves to the ground, try not to rustle too much, as 3 sets of hooves appear through the trunks to our left. I don't know how we have curved so close to the path without noticing. They are far enough away to stop me panicking, but still my heart thumps wildly as if trying to burrow into the ground. We would have seen them by now, surely, says a man's voice I recognise. My skin tingles. It's Bondoc. We should turn back, Mr Zamora. Kidlat lets out a tiny gasp, and I pull him closer. I nearly gasp too scared to try to catch a sight of Bondoc. Maybe we should, says another familiar voice. Dr. Thomas tired. We've found no traces. They are here, somewhere. Mr. Zamora's voice is furious. I saw them sailing out. How can children sail all that way, snaps Bondoc impatiently. If this is a cover-up for something you've done. I have done nothing. You think I'd return to this disgusting island if I knew where... There is a scuffling noise. Let's go, says Mr. Zamora. Bondoc, Dr. Thomas warns. There is a silence. What am I meant to tell Tala? Says Bondoc, finally his voice breaking. Mary grips my hand tightly. Tell, he said. Tell. That means she's still alive. A huge lump rises in my throat. I want to laugh and cry at once. So, Nene is still alive. That leper woman? Mr. Zamora's voice is taunting and I hear another scuffle. Bondoc, no, says Dr. Thomas. Mr. Zamora, please refrain from saying such that. We are wasting time, says Bondoc. He must be lying. I am not. We should press on. I press my cheek to the ground so I can see up to their waists. Bondoc's fists are clenching and unclenching. Dr. Thomas is standing between him and Mr. Zamora's thin legs. Bondoc grunts. Fine. Let me get some water first. Beside me, I feel Mary slither backwards and Kidlat turns and crawls away. I'm slower, still dazed by their mention of Nane. Mammy, hisses Mary, tugging my foot. I come to my senses and move to join them behind the trees. But it is too late. Bondoc's mouth falls open, and he presses his lips tight, and I see tears start in his eyes. Hurry up, Bondoc! We both jump, and he shouts, Coming! His voice cracking slightly. He crouches down and splashes the water so it sounds like drinking as he murmurs, Ammy, thank goodness. Are you well? And the other two with you? You beautiful, brilliant girl. He is shaking. He reaches out across the water with brushed fingertips. Did you hear? I'm with that awful man. I can't say I've seen you. You're all safe. 2 more nods, my eyes wide. Stay that way. I'll tell her you're coming. You're not far now. He splashes his face to hide his tears, then takes an unfeigned gulp of water from his cupped hand, taking a deep breath. He straightens and walks stiffly back in the direction of the others. I blink stupidly after him. Just before he reaches the path, he takes 2 steps back. His hand comes up in a fast arc and throws something. A box of matches from the tavern lands by my feet. By the time I've picked it up, he's swinging himself into his saddle. I see feet kick the horses into action and they ride back the way they came. Mary runs to me from the shelter of the tree. Amy! Her voice sounds feverish. What happens? What did he say? I hold up the book of matches dumbly and she stares. Kidlat comes and kneels beside us, thumb back in his mouth. I clear my throat and answer Mary's questions. She blows out her cheeks. You have the luck of the devil, Amy! I grin, the shock fading, leaving a manic giddiness bubbling in my stomach. I thought you didn't believe in the devil. She grins too. I don't believe in things I can't see, Amy. And I met this Mr Zamora. Same as you. I snort and pull her to her feet. I go to lift Kidlat, but he shakes his head and begins walking. Mary raises her eyebrows and links her arm through mine. After you, sir. She makes a low bow, dragging me into it with her. The boy giggles. Something has lifted from my shoulders. Seeing Bondoc, his gift of the matches, and his whispered, not far now, are like points of heat on my skin, driving my steps, giving me hope. We don't talk about Nane or Mary's parents, or anything sad. Kidlat and Mary seem to be in a better mood too. So much so that when the moon comes up, Mary suggests we walk through the night. I want to, but I can tell Kidlat is exhausted, and I don't think I can manage to carry him after so much walking. We stop and set Kidlat to collect some wood for the fire, while Mary and I catch and gut another fish. I manage to drop the stone myself this time, though I have to close my eyes. I light the small stack of twigs from one of Bondoc's matches. Kidlat wants to try lighting a match, so I let him. Both of which snap and fall either into the fire or the river. We watch the flames grow and then shrink to a reddish glowing heat. We pick absent-mindedly at the fish, so by the time the fire is hot enough to cook it, we've eaten it raw. Kidlat is half asleep, so I shift him away from the flames and Mary rinses the basin in the river. There's a faint buzzing nearby and the fire's glow picks out a pale cone hanging in a tree across the river. I swallow hard. Wasps have always scared me. Ever since Nanny smoked a nest out from our wall when I was little. It was behind my bed and at night I could hear them buzzing. I thought I was imagining things until Nanny was stung slapping the broom against the wall outside. They all rose up in a tide and she was lucky to only be stung twice. Once on her wrist and again on her neck. She pumped the wall full of smoke and there were hundreds of dead bodies behind my bed. Rotted to dust now, probably, and all the tunnels empty. You alright, Amy? Asks Mammy, and I realise I was far away. Mary. Sort of, I say after a moment's silence. Good enough, she says and curls up next to Kidlat. I lie down on the other side of him and she reaches over the sleeping boy to squeeze my hand. I squeeze it back and she lets it rest in mine for a long moment before turning over and whispering, Good night. I think of Lahim, abandoned on the beach, the tide taking our secret and burying it in the sand. Sleep comes choppy as the waves. So I am sorry to leave it there. It feels like short. We've still done a good half an hour's reading, guys, like we was in assembly, if not more so. The Orchard is our chapter for next week. Let's look forward to that. And we are getting right near the end now. Super reading. What does the future hold for Amy and Kidlat? How powerful was that moment with Bondoc? Mr Zamora's on the island, though. I didn't see that coming. Will they see Mr Zamora again? I can't help thinking they will see him, but I hope they've got the upper hand. Super story work there, Kieran Millwood Hargrave. You keep us going. Thank you, guys. Enjoy, and we'll be getting even closer towards the end next week.